Hey, what's up, and welcome back to Full Academy. Today's episode will be about forge points and their sources. For some, this might seem a bit elementary, but you'd be surprised how many players actually struggle with this. A solid understanding of this topic will be needed to develop the kinds of robust income strategies that you'll need to power up your city. And for those experienced players out there, you may even be surprised to learn that there are a few things that you didn't know or hadn't thought hard enough about. I'm sure that you've learned by now that the game is called Forge of Empires for a reason, because forge points are the game's main currency and are needed for all sorts of important stuff, like leveling up your great buildings, unlocking victory expansions, sniping, and aging up. And for much of your FOE journey, your city's main reason for existing is to generate forge points. To get anywhere in this game, you're going to need a lot of forge points. Just take a look at the Ark. To get your Ark out of the mud and up to level 80 will cost more than 189,000 forge points. Of course, you can lower that cost for yourself by finding other players to contribute to your Ark at 1.9 or higher. But even then, you as a GB owner will still need to put down about 24,000 forge points. And that's just for the Ark. You're going to need another 11,000 forge points for your Zeus to get up to level 60 plus, 15,000 for your CDM, 25,000 for your AO, and on and on and on. The costs are just going to add up, and you're never going to have enough forge points. The problem is that we all start at the same place, with a Stone Age town hall adjacent to barren plots of land and with an income stream of 1 forge point per hour. But unless you enjoy watching grass grow or paint drying, you're going to need to figure out how to boost your income from that pathetic 1 forge point per day to something like 500 forge points per day, or even better, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 forge points per day. But to figure out how this can be done, let's take a closer look and see where these forge points are coming from. Here is a breakdown of where the 3,040 forge points per day that I was getting came from when I was a 18-month player. This is a pie chart that shows the different sources that they came from, and it also shows that a majority of my forge points at the time were coming from great building investments or fighting and negotiating in GBG. It's important to emphasize that this breakdown and distribution was really a reflection of my playing style and strategy at the time. And the goal of the next few lessons is really to supply you with the knowledge so that you can develop an income strategy and an income mix that is right for you. So the way I see it, there are 4 main sources of forge points. You have your fights and negotiations, city collections, great building investments, and then other income. Other income is things like events, quests, GE, and trading. So just so that we're all on the same page, the fights and negotiations category includes the forge point rewards that you get from GBG or the PvP tower, the spoils of war rewards that you get from the HC, forge points gained from plundering, and the diplomatic rewards from the space carrier. City collections, that's anything that you collect from your city, and it also includes the extra collection boost that you might get from your Blue Galaxy. For contribution rewards and sniping, that goes into GB investments. And here I'm talking about where you make a profit off of contributions to somebody's great buildings. Now, you may or may not agree with having just 4 buckets of forge point sources. Maybe you think that it should be 2 or 3, or maybe even more, like 6 or 7. You can use whatever number of categories that you find useful and helpful. But for the purposes of these lessons, I'm going to continue with the 4. The cool thing is that you can tap into each of these forage point sources to create a new and separate income stream for your city. And the income stream gained from each of these sources is going to have different properties. This table shows a comparison of the different income streams in terms of time commitment, upside potential, variability, and risk. So a brief explanation. Time commitment speaks to the time intensity or activity level needed to really maximize this income stream on a daily basis. Upside is about how much you could realistically expect to get when you fully developed the income stream. Variability is about the steadiness or reliability of the income. Is it going to be stable, or is it going to be fluctuating wildly from day to day or season to season? And forage point risk is really about whether you could lose forage points if something goes wrong. So the key takeaways from this episode is that forage points are the main currency of the game, and I would argue that your city really exists to generate forage points for most of its existence. Next, these forage points come from multiple sources, and we went over them. City collections, fighting and negotiating, GB investments, and other income. Third, we can tap into each of these sources to create a separate income stream. And then lastly, each of these income streams is going to work a little bit differently in terms of the time commitment, upside potential, volatility, and risk involved. And so you'll need to have specific and separate strategies for developing each of these income streams. Well, that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to take a closer look at these income streams and how you can diversify your sources of income by developing the right capabilities. Thank you, and please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel.